So the third thing that I want to talk about is revealing the mysteries with working with the egg and yoni awareness and how to become more sensually alive as a woman. So the egg is not only to help develop increased orgasmic pleasure, it is to help you create awareness, sensitivity, and awaken to more feminine mastery. This is about you connecting and taking care of her, your yoni. There's an overabundance of what I call masculine sexuality. I lived in Las Vegas for 19 years, and that was a perfect example of an overabundance of the masculine form of sexual expression. You know, with bigger is better, breast implants, huge breast implants, just the mentality of orgasm and going for it and focused energy. Now, that is all, I'm not here to judge any of that. All I'm saying is where we find healing is through the balancing of both the masculine and the feminine expressions of our sexuality. And this is not the female or male. I'm talking about the masculine or feminine expressions of our sexuality. You see, it's time for us as women to develop what I call feminine sexuality. Feminine sexuality is our softer side or our more receptive side. And it's really our side that is vulnerable, but where we've found strength in our vulnerability. It's that part of us that is the subtle energy body instead of the physical body. You see, masculine sexuality is more focused and physical and going for the goal and making it happen. Well, we need both, but we just need it in balance. And things have been way out of balance. Wouldn't you agree? Now, balance, when we create this balance between the awakening of this more subtle energy with the physical body, there's a tremendous amount of healing that happens and radiance that comes. And what really happens is this beautiful alchemy of what I call the sacred union, the sacred marriage. And I actually give inner beloved readings, astrological inner beloved readings, to help you to create this beautiful marriage inside you when you start awakening these softer, more receptive energies inside you, inside your female anatomy. Your female body is the source of pleasure. But what we as women in our culture have been is the pleasers instead. And what I want to teach you is how to claim your feminine sexuality and then learn how to be the please-e. You know, women that go to sex therapy because they think that they have intimacy issues, the first thing that they say is that there's something wrong with my sexuality. And I want you to know that there is absolutely nothing wrong with your sexuality. There is everything right with it. It's just that you have not been given the support, the education, the tools, the understanding to know how to let her flower, how to let her be revealed, how to allow her to open up and express herself. You haven't been given the safe environment for that. So what we have in our more masculinated culture, we have these female sexual dysfunctions that have been labeled. And this is what women are suffering from. It's very real. But they've been labeled things as sexual desire disorders. This is hypoactive sexual desire disorder or sexual aversion disorder. And it's interesting, when I saw this hypoactive sexual disorder, that's very similar to a chronic disease we have in the U.S. of hypothyroidism. And your genitals and your vocal cords are actually developed in the embryo at the exact same time. And so the genitals and your actual vocal cords are intimately connected. And so I find that interesting that they labeled it hypoactive sexual disorder. And we also have hypothyroidism as a disease, a very common disease or disorder in our culture. So you want to be sexually active. But of course you're going to have aversion to it if you're not given the safe or the right environment, or you're not being touched in a way that allows your flower to properly open. There's also sexual arousal disorder, there's sexual orgasm disorder, there's sexual pain disorders, such things as dyspareunia, vaginismus, non-coital sexual pain disorder, and vulvodynia. Vulvodynia is burning or knife-like pain. And this isn't just on intercourse, this is actually just in the vulva region, the outer area. So it's hard for when a woman is experiencing this, it's even hard for her to just, get through the day without experiencing pain. And I can't help but think that this is from her lineage, from sexual abuse, and possibly even from past lives. Dyspareunia is genital pain associated with sexual intercourse. And vaginismus is involuntary spasm of the musculature of the outer third of the vagina that interferes with vaginal penetration, which causes personal distress. You see, all of these things are simply because, and if you're suffering from these, I really believe this is all because you have not been given enough love and nurturing and attention to this part of your body. And it's not your fault. You don't know how. Our culture has not taught us this, neither men nor women. And if we want this for ourselves, then we need to learn it. We need to embody it and then teach our men. You see, the vulva is related to vulnerability. And even if you haven't suffered from these diseases or these disorders or this pain in that area of your body, probably you have suffered from yeast infections and bladder infections. And often, even though we get aroused and we experience pleasure, often when we bring a lot of attention to this area, it's when we have a yeast infection or a bladder infection. Then, oh my goodness, then we're really paying attention to her. Well, I want to teach you how to pay attention to her in a pleasurable perspective and not always just bring attention to her when you have pain. You see, a large percentage of women that go to a gynecologist because of yeast or bladder infections, well, a lot of women sitting in those waiting rooms, it's because of that, yeast or bladder infections, and a large percentage of those cases are because they're chronic. I guarantee you, when you start taking care of her, you will free yourself from these chronic conditions. I've gone through it personally. All she needs is your love and your attention. So your yoni responds immensely to love and attention. But so many women are disconnected from their yonis and so conditioned from our culture to be more the pleaser than the pleasee. There are too many yonis responding to men's sexual needs instead of to their own yoni's sexual needs, and really don't even realize it. They may think they're just doing their wifely duty, or they just want to get it over with. And I'm sure that you have had beautiful sexual experiences, but what I'm here to say is that you can have even more. Some women are so disconnected from their yonis that even in full-blown intercourse, they are still having a hard time getting the message to open up. I am telling you this because when I started taking care of my own yoni and standing up for my yoni and connecting to my yoni, she responded immediately, and she continues to respond immediately as I give her those deeper aspects of love. You see, this is about putting light where there is cultural shame and darkness. And when you do that, a whole new world will open up to you. You will become more creative. You will become more confident. You will become more sensually alive, more playful. a whole new universe will open up to you. And the other beautiful thing about the crystal eggs is that crystals hold healing properties. These crystals, when you place them inside you, will actually literally help purify your yoni. You see, you can, when you have sexual relations, you can actually have negative imprints in that part of your body. You can have imprints from past lovers. Tammy Kent, who wrote the book Wild Feminine, which I would highly recommend you reading that. She's a physical therapist, and she does yoni massage, pelvic floor balancing for women after they've had babies. She said after 9/11, every single woman that came into her office, she could tell because she'd been working with them before, that they were clamped down again in that area of their body. So you see, we hold so much more than we really realize in that part of our body. And so these beautiful healing crystal eggs will bring light to where there is tension, will release negative imprints, and even negative imprints of past lovers if you work with it with intention. And by placing that beautiful high-frequency crystal egg with healing properties into your yoni, into your vaginal tissue, it will refine your sexual energy. And what I mean by refining your sexual energy is awakening it, loosening it up, opening it up so that it can naturally flow up your spine to your heart and to your higher centers. Now let me tell you a little bit about the qualities of the crystals that I provide, these eggs that I provide. One is the jade egg, which is nephrite, and the other one is rose quartz. So the quality of jade is known as the health, wealth, and longevity stone. It protects against negativity and instills confidence and self-reliance. And I call this the more masculine stone, and it's this beautiful alchemy of when you put a very masculine energy into the most feminine part of you, then you create this beautiful alchemy and balance between the masculine and the feminine. And so traditionally, it's really good to first start working with the jade egg. I personally love working with the rose quartz egg, and the rose quartz is known as the stone of gentle love. It clears negativity and reinstates calming, loving, gentle forces of self-love. It's also very emotionally soothing, and it's wonderful for healing emotional wounds. So these beautiful crystals not only have these healing properties, crystals are known to hold intentions. And I've been working with crystals not only inside of me, but also around my property in my home. I have a crystal in my car to keep me protected while I drive. So crystals hold intentions. And so when you first get your egg, I recommend that you clear it. Put it out in the sun and let the sun clear it. You prayerfully ask for any previous intentions to be cleared out of it. And then when you place the egg in and when you sip the egg in, I also highly recommend that you always put it inside you with an intention. And you can be as creative as you want. You always put the egg in with an intention, with a blessing for your own personal empowerment. So using the crystal egg and taking my courses will transform you and your yoni from being a traumatized, medicalized, subjugated, objectified, pornographic, shamed, or just plain longing for connection vagina to a liberated vagina and liberated and radiant and confident yoni. If you're interested in purchasing the egg, all you need to do is go to anathea.org/products. And just scroll down a ways. You'll see the rose quartz egg and you'll see the jade egg. And so feel free to go to that website and order an egg now. I guarantee you that working with the royal egg is a beautiful way to connect to that part of your body.